Hi, or should I say Alola? I'm Graham from Second Era of Moles, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. This is another week that was on Pokemon Masters X. I say Alola because the Champion Stadium has moved onto the Alola region. It's been a bit of a quieter week. We've been finishing off the Giovanni events, and we've got the October Midnight Spookfest come along recently. So let's get into the new region of that Champion Stadium. So this is Alola. It's our first new region in the Champion Stadium since way back in May. And this week we're not playing for the rewards of Master Mode, we're playing to unlock Master Mode. So you've got to use as many types as you can. You can get a maximum of 15 and then you've got to finish it off next week to get your medal. So in round 1 this week you get a special attack boost. Olivia was weak to water types, so I chose to take on her in this round. And I used a team of Barry, Jasmine and Sawyer. So that gives you a water type, a dark type and a steel type. That is 3 already. I'm not going to go too deep into these ones. Really through the first round you're using no hesitation with Barry to raise that speed, special attack and crit hit rate. Jasmine is raising defense, maybe an Iron Tail. Sawyer is using Always Loyal and then raising that crit hit rate. You get down to that first sync move, give it to Jasmine for that 6x boost. Then through that second round you're using Bubble, Dark Pulse with Sawyer, Clang, Iron Tail, whatever you want with Jasmine. You get down to that second sync move that goes to Barry, and his big sync move is just going to wash Olivia away. In round 2, your condition is a status conditions boost, so I chose to take on Kahili. She was weak to ice types, so I went for Kyurem, and then Viola and Masquerain, and the player and Torchic. So that gives you an ice type, a bug type, and a fire type. There's 6. When you get into the battle itself, you're starting off with a Glaciate. You're using Mwahaha as well to raise Kyurem's crit hit rate. With Viola, you're doing just fantastic, and then you're trying to infest everyone. The player's using Blazing Hope or X-Tackle to boost the attacking stats. Kyurem gets that sync move because neither of the sides are 6x, and he's very strong with his sync. In that second round, you're carrying on using Glaciate, you're infesting anyone who hasn't been already, and then you're moving on to Struggle Bug. Torchic is using up any more trainer moves and then going for Flame Charge to boost that speed. Even though status conditions were boosted on this one, I didn't get very much freezing. That's what I was hoping for. I was like, yeah, Kyurem's going to use Glaciate and get freezing. I finally managed to get it in the last move before Kahili used her sync move. It's like, oh, what's the point? So that, as you know, sync move cancels that out. But that Glaciate took out the 2 sides, and then it was time for Kyurem's second sync move anyway. It took Kahili out, so we got his big driver out and popped her down the fairway. Hole in one. Bird in one. Kahili in one. Golf in one. In round 3 you get a move gauge boost. I chose to take on Acerola for this one. She was weak to electric types, so the team I used was How and Raichu, Zinnia and Salamence. Yeah, one of the ones from the rewards. Haven't used her very much so far. And then Liza and Lunatone. Acerola's going to inflict Trap on you. That's a little bit irritating. It's not a game changer. It's not going to be the difference where, oh my god, I've got all trapped and I lost. Fittingly, when you start off with How, you're feeling that Alolan breeze get under your armpits. My dad used to do this thing where he'd walk along like that and I'm like, why are you doing that? So I can feel the breeze under my armpits. With Zinnia, you're using Status Shield just to use up a move, then you're using her trainer move in there as well. Liza's using her trainer moves to boost up all of her allies. You get down to that first sync move and you give it to How. He's got a pretty good sync nuke with his Inertia. Then you get into that second round and it's Discharge with How all the way. Zinnia is going to be trying to use Dragon Rush to get some flinching in there. You can use a couple of attacks with Liza. She's got that trap, so it's up to you whether you're thinking, well, I want to use the move to get to the sync move faster, or you think, I don't want her to take very much damage, so I'll wait a little bit. When it comes, Hal gets that second sync move as well. That damage is going to start building up. Around that time, Acerola is also going to use her sync move. The irritating thing is that Drifblim gets healing from that sync move. For me, it took out Liza, so that was a bit of a blow. And you want to be trying to use Dragon Rush as much as possible to get some flinching on there, because the amount of damage that Hal is going to do with Discharge is less than the healing that Drifblim gets back from its passive move. So you want to keep up that damage, keep trying to get some flinching. Eventually it did go down, took out Frillish one side, I think it was Frillish the other side as well, and it was like, yeah, bye bye Big Sis. In round 4 you get a sync move countdown reduction. For these ones I always think it's good to use a couple of 6x supports. So I took on Hala, he was the last one left. He was weak to fairy types, so the team I chose was Xerneas and Sycamore, because they are the ultimate fairy type at the moment. Paired that with Eevee and Leaf, and then Clay and Seismitoad. So that gives you a fairy type, a normal type, and a ground type. You're using Dazzling Gleam, It Ain't Over, and Bulldoze, and then tackle with Eevee to get down to that sync move. I gave it to Xerneas to get those stats boost. I thought that Hala was mainly like an ice type. Turns out it's got a lot of fighting type moves as well, and the allies it had were fighting types, which is Eevee's weakness. So Eevee's going to be taking a lot of big hits. You're going to need to use your potions to keep her going. When you get into that second round, it's still Bulldoze, bit of Moonblast in there from Xerneas, tackle when you can, potions when you need it with Eevee. Eevee gets that second sync move to boost all of those stats. She fainted a couple of moves after Hala's sync move, which was unfortunate, but that meant that Seismitoad got to take centre stage for a while, do a bit of tanking, use a couple of It Ain't Overs. Our dearly departed Clay unfortunately got his moment in the sun, and honestly, Xerneas just dominates the stage so much because his Hornleech does a lot of damage and gets a lot of healing. Moonblast does a lot of damage in its own right, and I didn't even need to use The World is Vast because Xerneas was just like boom, 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 like it usually does. In the final round, you're taking on Kukui and his Lycanroc. He's weak to grass types, so I went for Leaf and Eevee, Skylar and Swanna, and Lucy and Seviper. Your permanent condition for this one is the additional effects of moves are more likely. I chose the optional condition of the status condition boost as well. I was going for a bit of a poison trap strategy, so Leaf sets poison, Lucy sets trap, Skylar tanks for this one. It gives you a grass type, a poison type, and a flying type. So you start off Razor Leaf with Eevee, Wrap for trap, and Take Flight with Swanna. You get down to that sync move and it goes to Swanna. Then after that you can use a Mega Healing. Usually I would save it until after Leaf's sync move, but I don't think it made that much of a difference. You can use an I Dare You because that's going to boost Lucy's special defense using Gust with Skylar and Swanna, and then you're back to either Razor Leaf or Frenzy Plant if you've got the move gauge for it. Get down to that second sync move, and from there on out they're going to be going to Leaf and Venusaur. This one took quite a while to take Lycanroc down. My Frenzy Plants weren't doing as much damage as I would have liked, but I never really felt threatened on this one. And I think that's because there's a lot of healing going on. You've got passive healing from Mega Healing, Lucy has her own passive healing skill as well, and then you've got potions from Skylar and Leaf, and you get refreshes on those as well if you've got them gridded correctly. So I was just like, yeah, bye-bye Master Royal, Professor Kukui, oh no, bye-bye. So that left me with 15 out of 18 types on my medal. It means that next week I just need to use a Ghost type, a Rock type, and a Fighting type. So my first two teams will be Ghost, Rock, Fighting, Ghost, Rock, Fighting. and I'll be using as many ghost rock and fighting types as I can. So just, am I sure that I've got them all? It's been a bit of a strange week doing the Champion Stadium without any of the conditions. It's been like a weight off my mind. You can just go into the battle and treat it as a normal one. You don't have to worry about, oh, what if I did this or that? But you also don't get the rewards. So it's like, I was hoping to get Phoebe up to 6x this week, and I had nowhere near enough tickets to get her there. It was also weird having like the full move gauge. Usually I have 4 bars every single time. But we'll come back next week, we'll get our final 3 types, and then we can take on Master Mode as well. We've had our Halloween event launch, the Midnight Spookfest. Woo! I really like the seasonal Morty and Caitlin costumes. I like Morty as a kind of one-eyed guy. And then Caitlin looks like an actual person, rather than just the thing underneath a ginormous hat. I was a little bit disappointed that no one else was in costume. It's like, oh, Hilbert and Acerola, I see you've recycled your costumes from last year. And then I imagine them saying back to the player, yeah, well, at least we're wearing costumes. Leah's not even wearing a costume, and he's hosting the event. I know it's down to like character models and what you can put in the game, and do you want to design it specifically for this, but I was like, could you not have just like thrown a sheet over the player? You just have a white sheet walking around with 2 little eyes cut out. And you could do it for both the male and the female version. It wouldn't be too much. Bit of a spoiler for the end of the story, so plug your ears. But I did like the ending where it looked like Morty and Caitlin were going to dance together. It's like, woo, they're going to get together. Woo, scandal, scandal. The event lasts into November, so you've got plenty of time to battle through and get all of your rewards. You've got 2 different types of currency, so you've got big lanterns and mini lanterns. It's a bit confusing to start off with because they look pretty much the same. And I was like, why can't I avoid this? I got loads from the... there's 2. It also comes with a battle challenge. You go up against Acerola and Mimikyu with this one. In the first round I was like, can I use Acerola to beat Acerola? So I put Palo Sand in my team. And it turns out, yeah, it could. Most of the damage was done by Skylar and Swana, but... In the second round, you have 2 challenges to get 2 different types of coin. The first one is to use a dark type and a ghost type, so the 2 seasonal units are dark and ghost. And the other one is to use 1 trainer from Unova and 1 from Johto in the same team. So you can do both in the same round. They both sort of hinge around Morty. Morty is both Ghost and he's Johto, so that gives you 1 of each. You just have to find an Unova and a Dark type. So for the Unova type, I went for Skylar and Swana, the old fallback, and then for the Dark type, I went for Sawyer and Honchkrow. So I should say that I use Morty and Driftblim. I don't have the seasonal Morty for this one yet. Don't know if I'm going to try and pull for him. But you start off piercing the veil. Sawyer uses Forever Loyal, tries to raise the team's crit hit rate as well. Skylar uses Take Flight. You want to make sure you get at least 1 attack onto Mimikyu before you use the Sync move, because it's got Disguise that's going to like nullify the first hit that it takes, and you don't want that first hit then to be a Sync move. I was lucky, I got a load of refreshes on Pierce the Veil, so I was able to max out Morty's evasiveness and his attack and his stats. So when you get into the second round, you're using Dark Pulse with Honchkrow. You can use Take Flight. If you've got any refreshes, you can use Gust with Skylar. If you don't get that quad move in, so the Sync move and then 3 moves after it, you can afford to use a Phantom Presence with Morty. That's going to do that bit more damage than just a Shadow Ball. And then when that second Sync move comes, it's going to go to Morty. Because he's 6x, he's going to do a lot of damage to all of the opponents. For me, it took out both the sides. If you get a crit hit on it, it's going to take out Mimikyu as well. If you don't, then it's just going to be a couple of more attacks. And then you've beaten Acerola. And you get the medal. And then you get the 2 token coins as well. We've got a lot of events ending in the next couple of days. We've already had the Mushroom Mania event, which ended either yesterday or the day before. You've got all of the Giovanni events, so lurking, spreading and looming shadows are all ending, and his malice, so make sure that you get in, you get your rewards, you do anything you want to with those before they finish. Misty and Psyduck swimsuit event is also coming to an end. I still maintain she's in her gym gear and nothing will convince me otherwise, but make sure that you get through that and get the rewards there as well. And that was another week that was. Hopefully you found it as relaxed as I did. Next week we'll be going through the Champion Stadium again. We'll have to go through it twice to unlock hard mode and then to do hard mode. But you're well past the 90-second mark at this point. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully it's also inspired you to follow me on Twitter. I'm SEOM_YT, or subscribe to the channel so that you can join me for the week that will be. But thank you very much for watching this one. Alola and goodbye!